The temporal vortex has been a bit of a menace lately. I think there's no other way to explain it than, here we sit.
I literally thought about it and went like, oh, it's not been turned on, let me turn it on. And then I didn't for some reason, and now it's.
It's almost as if there are supernatural forces working upon us, like pulling our strings, watching us from afar. Is it on now? Is the recording on now?
I blame the queue.
Yes, exactly. Is the light on? Okay.
Yes, the light is on.
Thank you. Wow. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
You have faded in on us once again being Soup's professional and doing a totally awesome recording for you. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
You're listening to The Joy of Trek, which
Take
is
two.
and swirled by a maelstrom of temporal f***ery. But hey, this time it works to our advantage.
It does. So, hi, we are doing another story these days, picked from the archive of our own by our chief engineer, Greg.
Yes, which I've just opened, and I see that there's a donation box, which we're definitely going to be contributing. Archive of Our Own is a cultural treasure and a collection of, vast troves of fanfic.
We are
absolutely irreplaceable.
Of which we are sticking to the PG-13 side of things.
Yes, no.
This is a...
hoping that everything's labeled well.
Well, it seems to be so far. It is definitely in this version.
So this week, the chief has picked out for us a story called Not Ready by, I think, TFALokiwriter is how you're supposed to say it.
It makes more sense than TFALokiwriter, but so...
TFALokiwriter.
Yes.
No, that's rubbish.
In which Q fights for Picard not to be forcibly ascended by doing it the best way that he knows.
Yes, this is a post-episode for Next Generation Season 6, Episode 15, Tapestry. It's a Wonderful Life.
Which we recently covered in this podcast.
And since the writer is responding to a Tumblr post, I think I'm gonna read us a bit of an excerpt of at least the first post, which was written by Your Bureaucrat, I think is how you say it. And it's the Q continuum as matchmaker. Now, okay, look, says Your Bureaucrat, I know that the Q continuum probably looks down on Q for his infatuation with a mortal organic. To be fair, they apparently don't approve of romantic attachment in general, as seen with Amanda's parents. Amanda being a young girl who turned out to be a Q.
Right.
On the Next Generation. Like at one point she fills her entire room with puppies.
Oh, yes, I seem to vaguely recall.
Right, it's one of the early episodes, and I think it's a surprise to her. Like, Q actually has to come over and do a sort of saliva test or whatever.
Do a Q thing, yeah.
But in Deja Q, one of the Qs who seems to really dislike our Q because they have been the ones who had to fix Q's messes, and Q seems to have given their entire species a bad name in various places of the universe. So you have a bit of a revolutionary who likes to cause trouble that other Qs have to fix, but the amount of trouble has decreased ever since the human came along and gave Q something to sort of fixate on. Oh, wow. Not only that, but as time goes on, the human's approval and opinion actually seems to matter to Q. Now, this could be troubling, but one Q, the one who is just tired of having to fix the messes and apologize all the time, has an idea. What if we have finally found someone who could make Q behave?
Oh.
What if Q will be so busy with his human that they will simply forget about the rest? Who knows? Maybe we can convince this human to become a Q, and then we could have permanently someone who could keep the chaos at bay.
Oh, they're looking for a minder for Q. Interesting.
Well, yeah, or a live-in lover.
Oh, who knows?
Because the problem is that Picard is doing his own thing, being part of the universe and living his own life and being mortal and all that. And sort of Q, it's a very long-distance relationship, what with all of time and space between them.
Yes, although that's not as much of a problem for Q, I guess.
He doesn't seem to want to interfere all the time.
No.
It's not special. But if Picard was also a Q,
then they would be interacting, and maybe the Q continuum wouldn't be so terribly dull.
Yeah, you'd have to deal with the noise of them, doing it.
Their spat. Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah. We go back. That would be a tumultuous relationship.
Yes, probably. So, Not Ready by TFALokiwriter. Why have you not returned with your toy, Q?
Oh, yeah. He had chosen his human form for this very delicate discussion, only aged more than it had been. For many worlds it represented being wise and stubborn. Many Q judges appeared that age. The Continuum members were in their natural forms, resembling clouds with visible roots in them, all connected to each other, similar to a tree system.
He isn't ready to leave his life, Q said.
He has lived long enough, was one of the Q's replies.
Imagine your existence is limited. You regret past actions for a long time, and then you get a second chance. You have no more regrets about your action, only about how you carried it and let it impact your life for a good chunk of your lifespan. However, at the end, death must claim you, and the only thing that you feel is sorrow, and you proceed to complain.
All right. Yeah, he's arguing that Picard is going to be whiny if they make him a Q.
Right, yes.
Captain Picard brings a natural calm upon you, Amanda reminded.
Q entertained that thought of Picard ascended before schedule, getting to see his soul become that thing of being made of energy, how his mind felt being connected to, how the ability to explore on his own and whenever he liked it, the affection from Picard after a time, being able to be on the same level of existence as the captain, irritable, annoyed, and glaring when Q interrupted him.
Yeah, sounds like a dream relationship for both of them, actually. Only that thought soured as he mentally played out what would happen in the end. In what point of life the captain was currently in, as a member of Starfleet and as a Starfleet captain. The captain's anger was worse than what the Continuum could ever do to Q. His disapproval would sting him forever and tarnish the beginnings of a lovely eternal relationship into smithereens, leaving it behind as a charred corpse. No flowers, no greenery, no laughter, no smiles, no fondness. Not after all it took to get to this part in their friendship, where Q had his respect and trust. Losing that would be like losing Jean-Luc forever. Then Q glared in the direction of Amanda in a way that he hadn't done before. Anger, bitterness, scorn.
Their destroyed relationship was a ruined image far unbecoming of the continuing state of being. Misery all around, messy, dark, upsetting, by far the most childish event to have occurred upon ascension. Moats would be made, forts would be prepared, and storms would brew between the two parties. His mind easily conjured up the worst case imaginable to knowing the captain. He turned his attention off Amanda back towards the Continuum, with his arms folded against his chest.
Like air brings a natural calm to cats, Q replied.
And the Continuum was in uproar over that comment.
As is my brain. I don't know quite what he says. Like air brings a natural calm to cats.
Ooh. I mean, I like air. I can assume cats...
Okay, so yeah. Like, just because something is essential doesn't mean it's pleasant.
I suppose,
I guess, or by definition. No, okay. Hey, isn't that necessary to life?
Not even to the whole universe, Q.
Q, why can't you just be happy about your beloved friend ascending?
You preach love, but the thought of your love being at your level appalls you.
You don't make any sense. Bragging about him on a daily basis, thirsting for him, yearning for him, this is all can't be tolerated.
He's the only thing that you can think of when on other trials.
Do you honestly think we're that dumb not to take this opportunity?
This is another of his tricks, surely. He's pulling our legs. He'd love to have his toy among us, already feels like he is part of us. And among us, given we talk about him constantly, let's bring him in and make it official.
Shut up, Trelane, Q ordered, annoyed, and oh my god, I think you may have accidentally just done a really good impersonation of Trelane. I only know him as this fop with sort of lacy sleeves sitting at a harpsichord.
I have no idea.
Making a face just like the voice that you just did. I mean, hell, we might actually get to do that the original series episode sometime and find out. Let's see. No, how about you? Was Trelane's reply.
You're not the one who's going to be stuck with him for eternity and deal with him.
Wait, stop. That was your line. I want you to do Trelane. You do a really good
sorry.
Trelane.
No, how about you? Was Trelane's reply.
Yeah. You're not the one who's going to be stuck with him for eternity and deal with him personally. Q spoke up, drawing attention to him. I am. He jabbed his thumb against his chest. I'll take him when it is time. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Ba-ba-da-ba.
When will he be ready?
Bit of foreplay first.
Well,
in about 20 to 30 some years.
that's a long time.
From his perspective.
No, that's a very short period of time to us. To us, it'll be thousands, if not millions of years when that happens.
You do want me to hound you about correcting your action for the next eternity about putting him back? Number 2 will be unbearable for the trial of humanity. Thorny, 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 thorny beard. I cannot be an adequate judge over humanity. Okay. A thorny, thorny beard that leaves an awful rash on my butt cheeks. Well, no. I cannot be an adequate judge over humanity if Picard is not a part of it.
Well, are you suggesting that Commander Riker isn't suitable as a defendant?
If he were the defendant, I would rule in my favor and be done with humanity. Hey, boo.
Yeah, we will confer.
If you decide to make him a Q, then you know how things are currently going. Multiply that by an eternity and a star dying only double that by an eternity. He must be the one to consent. Isn't that what the continuum prizes? Consent? Since fucking when, though?
This is very important.
Haven't I grown more than before?
You've dialed down.
But not that much.
You haven't changed a great deal, Q.
It's how we work when it comes to becoming a member.
Well, your Q friend hasn't done what we wanted her to do.
Consent!
His voice roared through the continuum, time and space, through the air of every planet at every point in history, unsettling Deanna Troi, knocking out the entire population of Beta Z for a few days with his feelings overwhelming, causing constant turbulence throughout the Federation aboard every ship and every empire for 3 months. Vulcan was also subject to this, but they controlled their emotions and were quite resilient.
Or at least that's what they said.
Yeah, except for one who was half Vulcan and half human. That came with a different story. Spock was knocked out on Romulus during one of his teachings to the Romulans by the sheer strength and power of Q overwhelming his human half that was intense, immense, and passionate.
You'll be barbaric, below hideous. He won't keep me in calm waters when, furious for eternity that I had grown feelings for him. Do you know how toxic that is?
You just want to talk?
Yeah. It won't work, you hear me? It won't work. It'll only tear this continuum into two and create a vastly unstable universe rippling through time and space, only solved by restoring things to the way they are supposed to.
Q vanished forcibly. The continuum was silent. The pros came with the cons. Surely Picard wouldn't let Q do that. The continuum looked toward one another as sweat radiated from their beings in a form of genuine concern.
Wow.
Considering that very subject should be possible.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so you're a cloud with a visible root system, and sweat radiates off you in the form of concern.
It's an interesting metaphor.
This is amazing.
Yeah. To the continuum, it had been the captain's initial death, then unexpected resurrection by their chaotic Q. The continuum had seen this operation, then resumed their activities, anticipating that Q was about to finish the act instead of not. They had anticipated Picard's arrival for years after that moment. His very presence, his mind amongst the continuum, only to feel nothing had changed. Long believing that he was blocking himself off until Q Jr. brought it to their attention that he was still very much alive.
Q Jr. Was that in Voyager?
I don't know.
Because there's an episode where he really puts the moves on Janeway because he wants to reproduce something the Q haven't done in a while.
Oh.
And
he's picked Janeway as the perfect candidate.
Yeah, she turns him down, but he hooks up with another
there.
Q.
Right.
And I think then maybe later, like...
There's a Q Jr.?
Yeah, or maybe it was a Next Generation episode. I just have this picture of like a teenage white boy with sort of curly brown hair and kind of like a proto-scowl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh?
The effort had been graceful. Reach a hand in, unable to be seen, then touch the heart. The damage done was undone and the heart was intact. Performed by a god securing an investment for the future. Oh yes, this is how Q repaired the damage to Picard's heart. It had been a gentle procedure, with tenderness, touching the heart of someone close, rather than snapping his fingers and doing it afar. Q's fingers traced over the damaged portion, gently rubbing it away, and eased up to the first knuckle into the sucking ventricle and sort of, deeper into the aorta. Just a little bit, just teasing and relaxing.
Just the tip, just to see how it feels.
I don't know any more bits of the heart. I wanted to continue this gross, but okay. Pardon me.
No editorializing.
Q's fingers taste of... That is kind of what we're doing. We're sort of treating these stories the way Q treats reality.
I know, we are.
So, I say we, and thank you for not correcting me on that. That's very generous of you, Kay. Yes, rather than snapping his fingers and doing it afar, Q's fingers traced over the damaged portion, gently rubbing it away. It had been an action the continuum had finally realized what had been done. A thing done out of love, caressing the heart, bringing him back to the land of the living as his beloved toy's mind was busy reliving a significant moment in his life. something so deeply intimate, meaning his promise was sincere.
Became tense. Would he cause mayhem and destroy life and start the end of days? Q's bad days seemed to indicate that fact upon acknowledging if there was something especially irritable. The Continuum voted against forcing Picard into the Continuum against his consent.
Yay!
He wasn't ready, right, to join them, and the subsequent disturbances ceased without explanation in the universe.
From the Enterprise E, Picard sighed a breath of relief, as did many worlds.
Naturally, the lower decks blamed Q for it.
Thank you for this. Not ready by TFALokiwriter.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, was that literally what you were going to say?
Well, it was, yes.
Okay. Oh, it's actually quite a recent story. It was published in 2001.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Next week, we will have a regular episode.
Yes, which in the current time storm, we don't entirely know. But Chief, what are we going to watch next week?
Next week, we'll be watching Empok Nor DS9 524.
Awesome.
And the week after that, we will be reading a story by Apolesen.
Apolesen. Apolesen. Apologies for not knowing how to pronounce it. We're dumb.
It's called Wearing Your Colours, in where many years after the Castellan ship of Elim Garak, a young man finds the courage to wear a pin of his hero in an unusual colour scheme.
Ooh, well, considering that if the time storm's shadows are cast correctly, that will be coming out during Pride Month.
Oh.
I'm very curious to find out which colors are on this pin.
Yes.
We have a lot of beautiful spectrums to choose from these days.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
So, that leaves us only with one more thing to do.
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by our chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amor. Join us next week for Empok Nor DS9 524, followed by Wearing Your Colors, the fan fiction reading. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us your recommendations, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Blue Sky. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.